Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow.
Welcome back to another episode of Lone Star College Football. It has been a minute, but we're back in the studio ready to talk spring football. It's finally back. Logan, what's up, man?
Man, I'm just excited to be back. Man, it's been so dry, it feels like lately, coming from both of our schools. Like everything's circled around the Pac-12 and their media rights and everything else going on with that, and it's really nothing coming out of our schools.
Yeah, February, it's a dry month. It's a dead period for recruiting. You're just looking forward to spring football. February, it kind of sucks. But we're into March. Spring football started today, March the 6th. And we've got a couple quotes from Coach Sark we want to talk about. We've got some Xavier Worthy news, and we'll talk about the running back room for the Texas Longhorns. We might touch on a few more things, but let's go ahead and get into it.
Yes, sir.
Steve Sarkisian, he said it the first practice in that all positions are up for grabs, including quarterback. But he made an interesting comment. He listed two quarterbacks, and one of them wasn't Malik Murphy. Quinn Ewers, we all know the season he had last year, transferred from Ohio State. He was basically a freshman last year. He's a redshirt freshman anyways. And Arch Manning, true freshman, been on campus for a whole 2 months. Those are the two guys who are going to be duking it out for the number one spot. What are your thoughts on Malik Murphy getting left out of that quote?
I hate it, man, because I wanted to see him last year. You know, he had the ankle injury on top of just getting buried under Hudson and Quinn. I mean,
yeah,
I just hate to see the talent that we saw from his film in high school just kind of fade to the background. So, I mean, he's going to hit the transfer portal. Now, where a good fit would be, I'm not sure at the moment. I wouldn't mind having him in Waco personally, but what are the odds that happens at the same time?
Yeah, you hit right on the point I was going to talk about. Murphy's got to transfer out, and usually you see coaches play it a little bit different. Dave Aranda didn't last year, letting Gary Bohannon just go ahead and leave.
Yep.
Didn't turn out very well for y'all. Y'all could have used him.
You think?
It seems like Sark is kind of just saying this is a Quinn Ewers, Arch Manning offense. Malik, we appreciated having you here, but you're looking at being our number 3 guy. And this is where I have troubles, because it's like for those of us who we're like diehards college football. We follow recruiting. We follow the offseason, the off season. We follow you start naming 3rd and 4th string guys, you're not a casual anymore. And so I look at Malik Murphy, and when he was a junior in high school, before he even committed to Texas, I was watching his film because I wanted us to get him. And so when you do that, it's like you kind of like, man, I really like this guy, and I really wanted to see him play, but do I think he could be the best quarterback on our roster? Yeah. I mean, he was a highly rated quarterback. He was a 5-star until his junior year, where the whole team had a down year, lost his 5th star, and then his senior year wins a state title game, doesn't get his 5th star back. The dude is stupid talented.
Yep.
But at the same time, Quinn Ewers, number 1 prospect in the country in his class. Arch Manning, the number 1 in his class. I want to see what they can do. And unfortunately, when you have 2 guys, it's hard enough to see them both play. And when you have 3, it's without an injury, it's almost impossible.
Yep.
So I hope the best for Malik if he does transfer. Also, I'm cool with him if he wants to ride it out another year. I could see benefit in that, because you're almost at a point now where if you transfer now, you're going into a new program so late. The odds of you playing there are pretty slim. Stay at Texas, get work with the offensive development that we have, right? We've got AJ Milwee, quarterbacks coach. We've got Steve Sarkisian, who has been known to be a quarterback whisperer. We haven't quite seen that in the 40 acres yet. But you might just stay at Texas, get another year there, and then winter right after the season, then hit the portal in that first wave where everybody's looking, and you could be a big name in the portal that way.
I mean, yeah, I could see it both ways, but
Yeah. We'll read the quote that Sark said. He said, "I'm not worried about who's going to be on the cover of the magazine. I'm more focused on is each guy focusing on what they need to do to develop to be the best player they can be. Quinn has an entire year of a head start, but I don't want to hold Arch back. I want to see how far he can take this thing and what it can look like." I mean, all things said, it sounds like there's a real competition.
yeah. I mean,
A
that's
lot
how I
of
read it
times you
whenever I
see,
sent it to you. Is the same exact way.
yeah. A lot of times you see people say that, like last year with Quinn and Hudson, everybody knew it was Quinn. Like
Oh yeah.
you said there was a quarterback competition, but really we all knew it was Quinn. Quinn has a lot to work on, right? He's got to work on his feet. His footwork was pretty off last year. With a little bit of disruption, he was quick to get rid of the ball out of a non-throwing stance. Um, he's got to work on taking the easy stuff when it's there instead of forcing the ball downfield. He wasn't terrible at not getting sacked. He threw 6 interceptions. 3 of them were against Oklahoma State in a game where he shouldn't have been throwing the ball 49 times on a windy day. Should have been handing the ball to Bijan. So you give him credit because you threw a pick, that's on you. But at the same time, Coach Sark didn't really do you any favors there. And so the way I'm looking at it right now, if you say, Christian, you have $1,000 and you get to bet on who's the starter, it's Quinn, right? Is it really? Are we really thinking that Arch could win, like for real win it? I don't think so.
I
I think
mean,
Arch knew when he was coming here. I think it was already set. Hey, you're 99%. You're gonna redshirt. You'll play, but you're gonna redshirt. You don't think so?
I think it just it's weird because, like you said, both of them number one quarterbacks, some number one players in their classes.
Yeah.
Quinn's coming off of a bad completion percentage year. At the same time, a lot of those were drops. But
Yeah.
I mean, looking at Arch's film, like you can just scroll through Twitter in the middle of the football season and see nothing but Arch Manning going against these guys that don't look very good, but at the same time, is Arch that good to make them just look
Is
bad?
Arch making them look bad, or are they
Exactly.
bad? Yeah.
Now, I know nothing about the schools he was playing against, but I have been able to see in person teams like around here, like Wascom, Jefferson, make these really good teams look garbage.
Yeah.
So is it Norman is just that good, which I'm pretty sure it's well known to be, or are these other teams actually just bad? So it could, I think that could determine it. If Arch is the real deal and he can treat D1 athletes like he did those high schoolers.
Yeah. Well, let's touch on Quinn first. Over the offseason thus far, there's been 2 main things going on his life. 1, he cut the mullet. Okay. 2, if you look at him, he looks like he's losing weight, like in a good way. Like he looks like he's building the body mass right. And Coach Sark actually he touches on that. He's talking about how your appearance kind of gets the way people perceive you. He says all of a sudden the guy gets a haircut, cleans up his beard, and now everyone thinks he's serious. But that's human nature. The truth is, it's never been a question about Quinn taking this serious. He wants to be really good. He wants to be a leader. He wants to win championships, and that doesn't change with his day-to-day. I recognize him for showing some maturity and that he has been a more vocal presence this offseason. He's done what he needs to do. He's serving Arch and showing him, hey, this is what it looks like, and this is how you go about your business. Quinn is a team guy. He's going to put on he's going to take weight off and put it on the way it needs to be more athletic on the field. I think Quinn's the guy. I think Arch Manning is young, and you don't – with young quarterbacks, you've got to be careful, man. You don't want to ruin their confidence too early in their career. You throw a young QB out there and him have a really bad game 1, and that confidence can be shaken, and it can be hard to get that back. Whereas a mature quarterback, if Bryce Young goes out there and just has a crappy game, next week he'll bounce back. He's fine. But when it's your first game, you got to be careful. And if Arch is our starter next year, his first game's against Rice. That's fine, whatever. I believe that with Arch we would beat Rice. Got Bama week 2 though. We gonna test his confidence week 2 though.
I mean, y'all did the same thing to Quinn this year.
But technically, that was Quinn's second year in a college setting. Although he didn't play in Ohio State, he practiced against Ohio State for a year. But he practiced. He got a feel for the speed of the game. The speed of the game is completely different. And then he came to Texas and fought for that number 1 battle all offseason as the number 1 or number 2 guy, number 1, and a whole offseason of playing every day against a actual college defense.
I mean, that's why Arch was an early enrollee. That's why a lot of these kids do it for that same reason, to try to fight for a spot right off the bat. But I think Quinn will start probably. But I could foresee a Clemson kind of scenario with DJU having a terrible season. Not saying Quinn. I'm not hoping Quinn's going to have a terrible season for all the Longhorn fans. If you've been following the channel for a while, you've started to realize that I'm getting more and more to where I like Texas, and it's not a horns down kind of thing. But
better not be.
Could be the same thing how Cade Klubnik was last year for Clemson. Possibly. I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
it just depends on how Quinn starts it off.
Arch Manning, his day 1 was today. Coach Sark says there are some plays for sure that Arch would like to have back. Yep. And there are some other plays that he made where everybody was like, wow, that was a heck of a play. He brings a worker's mentality, and he wants to be really good at the game. Arch is here. Yeah, he's here. His uncles, I'm sure they are calling and texting him. I'm sure he was on the phone with each uncle for at least an hour after practice today, talking about how it went, what he could do better. And that's probably going to be maybe not a day-to-day, but a week by week. I'm sure he's got plenty of time talking with those uncles, trying to see what he could do better. I honestly wouldn't be surprised because, the practices are recorded for them to watch tape after. I would not be surprised if Eli and Peyton both have copies of every practice getting sent to them, and they can watch what Arch is doing and give him tips. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm not saying that's happening, but I would not be shocked.
I would guarantee it almost.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like makes sense. Let's move on to Xavier Worthy. Some news about him that we had a little bit of like an inclination. There were some things that were said during the season, late in the season, but never really, not that I saw. Maybe y'all saw something and I just missed it, of an actual injury that he had. But it turns out, Coach Sark revealed it today that he had a bit of a disappointing season, although he still led the Big 12 with 9 touchdowns, 760 yards, 58.8 per game, after he had a breakout freshman season that he played about half of the season with a broken hand. That explains some of the drops. Sark was even saying that during practice, they were intentionally not throwing him the ball, trying to give his hand a rest from catching passes. He says we're going to see a new version of Xavier Worthy. He's going to be dramatically different now that he's healthy. That, on top of the fact that he is obviously a baller, I take all the Longhorn comments, all of the fans, right? I maybe gave Xavier Worthy a little bit of criticism, not a ton. There were some people who were straight up like, if he wants to leave, bye. No, what? Xavier Worthy is quite literally on pace to be statistically like the best receiver we've ever had.
Those were the people that you can tell they don't actually pay attention. They watched whatever they saw on Twitter and was like, hey, that guy's kind of bad.
Yeah. It's wild. Sark says that he obviously your hand is an important aspect of your game. He said that Worthy never wanted to sit out and not play a single down, noting he did not reveal it so that the opponent wouldn't know. He came to work. He fought through it. And that there were just days that they didn't throw him the ball in practice. That's a fighting mentality.
Man.
Like straight up like, hey, don't even let this word get out because I don't want the other team to even know that I'm going through it. not just I'm going to play through it. What it is, but like don't let them know. Because you got to imagine if you're a DB for what's a crappy team, Oklahoma. You're a DB for Oklahoma. Those guys suck. You can't honestly tell me that if you're a DB, you wouldn't go up there and press Xavier Worthy and slap his hands down.
Oh yeah, 1,000%.
Because that's a DB thing. Whenever you're running, right, receivers' hands, they're up in that fighting. The DBs, they slap. You can slap their hands. Same thing with the receiver. Might slap the DBs for a swim or whatever. I think if they knew, they'd probably be slapping at his hands. Seems like for some reason Oklahoma and Texas Tech just come to the forefront of my minds on crappy teams that would do probably more Texas Tech. Lubbock, man, y'all guys are something. You got anything to add on Xavier Worthy?
Shout out to him, man. I gave him a lot of crap, not necessarily on the podcast, but just talking to you, like whenever we're at work, whatever. Nothing but crap. That last game against Washington, the last couple of games, like, man, just drops after drop. Like, what are you doing? Quinn's hitting them on the money, and it makes sense.
It makes sense. Throw a deep ball. I mean, we throw the ball at work. You throw that ball 40 yards, it can come down with a good amount of pressure. And if it hits right on where it hurts, I'm dropping it too. Honestly, got a broke hand. I'm not trying to catch it. That's not me.
No. I mean, he's better than me. That's for sure.
That's why I don't play collegiate football. I ain't got the dedication for it. I've never broken bones. I don't even know how bad it hurts.
No, it's bad. Trust me. Broken a couple of them. But anyways, man, for real, shout out to him for just being a team player. And tough as nails. I don't know what else to say about it. Whenever I read that, it just blew my mind. It made sense.
Well, we'll move into the running back position. Jaden Blue and Cedric Baxter split reps today as the 1 and 2 guys. At first, I was surprised. I started reading on it. I do remember Jonathan Brooks had an offseason hernia surgery that he's recovering from still, and Keelan Robinson had a muscle strain, so that's why they were both out. So that doesn't necessarily mean that Blue and Baxter are 1 and 2, but it's kind of one of those things where if you're going to do all of spring football and you're 1 and 2, you're definitely putting yourself at an advantage where after spring ball, there'll be some more dead period. And then once summer workouts come by, you're fresh on the coach's mind that you were just running all these drills. Yeah. If they're not back 100%, there's no telling how the coaches feel about them. In my personal opinion, the way I see the running back situation turning out is probably Jonathan Brooks at number 1, Cedric Baxter probably coming in at 2, where that's kind of a new for me. I was really leaning more towards Keelan Robinson jumping from the number 3 guy to number 2. After that spring game or bowl game, I find it hard to believe because he was so useless running inside zones. And that's not a credit. That's not a hit on him. He's a smaller back. He's a speed. Well, Brooks only got the ball like 6 times because of his injury. He was hurt then. He just hadn't had the surgery yet. So they didn't really feed him. Keelan Robinson is a quick outside runner. As much as I've loved having him on the team, if I'm being honest, he's more useful receiving out of the backfield and on special team returns and blocks than he is running out of the backfield.
Put him at quarterback.
Quarterback? No.
Put him at QB, bro.
How is this? Will this tell me how tall Keelan Robinson is? He's 5'9". See, I was gonna say move him to slot receiver, but that's like small. I mean,
I retract my statement.
Yeah, he's just probably not gonna be the running back that Texas is looking for. Whereas for reference, Jonathan Blue, he's 6', 190. Cedric Baxter is 6'2", 220.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Jonathan Brooks is 6', 204, and Keelan Robinson, what is he? 5'9", 185. Yeah, so he's definitely undersized. I wouldn't be mad if Cedric Baxter jumps up to that number 1 spot. 6'2", 220. I mean, come on. That's just Bijan was like what 6 foot, maybe about 210,
Yeah, he was two something.
215, if I had to guess. But
Yeah, C4 was one of my favorite recruits. One of them.
yeah,
But
that kind of shores up the offense. I'll touch on the defensive thing real quick. Obviously, we know Moro Jomo and Keandre Coburn are participating in the combine this past weekend. So defensive line, we're going to need people to step up. Baron Sorrell has to take another step forward. He took one a year ago and produced well for us, getting 5.5 sacks. We're going to need him to take another step. If he was at 8.5 sacks next year, that would be awesome. At the other edge, Ovia Gofu transfers out really at an interesting time because I think this would have been his shot to actually start, but he decided to leave the program. We're probably looking at a guy like Ethan Burke, who out of everybody else on the field or on the team last year, other than Baron Sorrell and Ovia Gofu, and I think Moro Jomo, I think he got the most reps out of everybody who's left in rotation, and he only got like 39, I think. So we have a lot of young talent there. Who's going to step up? I don't know. I'm kind of thinking it'll most likely be Ethan Burke. Linebacker position, obviously, DeMarvion Overstone is gone. We're looking at Anthony Hill and Leonga Lafau, both true freshmen. Come in, split the reps. That's what I'm thinking, okay? Because Jalen Ford is going to be gone after this season.
Yep.
And from reports that I'm hearing, Leonga Lafau is the best replacement for Jalen Ford. So it's important this year that they don't just give Anthony Hill like 90% of the snaps and Leonga Lafau 10. You probably want to see that more like a 60-40, 70-30 type deal. So Leonga Lafau is probably going to get a lot of playing time. It's kind of tough to have young guys at the linebacker position, but that's a part of football. It's part of college football, and it's a great thing that we get to recruit the way that we do. One more thing, defensive backs. Deshaun Jameson is gone. Jaron Thompson is coming back. Was it Josh Thompson who's gone? Josh Thompson is gone. Was he even there last year? Sometimes these names run together in my brain.
no, he went undrafted last year.
Josh Thompson was already gone.
Yep.
So our safeties last year were Jaron Thompson and Michael Taft. I think Keaton Crawford played a little bit. We're looking this year. Jalen Catalon transfer out of Arkansas.
Oh,
If he's healthy,
I keep forgetting about that guy.
If he's healthy, I think he's going to be a stud replacement there. Defensive back, Deshaun Jameson's gone. We did pull in Gavin Holmes out of Wake Forest at corner. I know the Baylor Bears were hoping to get him.
Yep.
The questionable thing in the secondary is last year Terrence Brooks played well in the bowl game at DB. So you probably start Gavin Holmes because of experience, but Terrence Brooks needs to play. We've recruited well. We got Malik Muhammad. He's going to be I think, a pretty productive defensive back once he gets in the game. And then at safety with Jaron Thompson and with Jaron Thompson and Jalen Catalon, we also got Derek Williams, a highly rated safety out of Louisiana. So how they get all those guys in, I'm not sure.
You also forgot about Ryan Watts.
Well, Ryan Watts is he's the number one corner. So
Oh yeah, has to be.
yeah, he's.
But I just want to throw that name out there.
Yeah, and Ryan Watts is like 6'3". I mean, got the wingspan of an eagle. Dude's a stud. He's gonna be able to cover that outside very well. Really, guys, that's all the information I have at spring football. Also, we know the defensive side of the ball is going to be interesting this year with Gary Patterson deciding to step away from the program. The reports that I learned on that today, he said it twice in his interview with somebody that he's stepping away. He wants to take his wife on vacation. He's put in like 100 hours a week the whole time he's been at Texas. He said he's going to step away. And he said this. He said it twice. He said, come August, if I'm bored or I can't step away, maybe Sarkisian will have me back. So I think for sure if he wanted to come back, Sark's going to say yes. We don't know quite yet. We might have
He said
Patterson,
if
we
I'm
may
bored.
not. But you know what, though? When you're a coach, you're a head coach for like 22 years.
Oh yeah,
It's going to be hard to step away.
for
So
sure.
we'll see what he does. With that being said, you got anything to add? I know I kind of went on a defensive tangent there, just trying to get some information.
Let me think. Can't think of anything off the top of my head that we haven't already talked about.
Cool. Well, with that being said, guys, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. Y'all make sure to like the video, drop us a comment. You can leave a comment anywhere from who you want the quarterback to be, who you want the running back to be. How exciting is it that spring ball? We're already 3 months into the year. Okay, we just have 6 more to go till
Oh, that's
September.
it?
Yeah, actually, it's not even 6 because it's the first like 2 day. The second day of September is the first game, so it's really just through August. We get there. Subscribe to the channel if you're looking for something to keep you busy while you are waiting for football. We're going to do our best to bring as much information on the team as we can. Appreciate y'all rocking with us. Until next time, welcome.
So